welcome back to Snetterton, where the first race of the season for the Radical SR3 Challenge is well underway. This then the battle for second flashing through between James Abbott, Paddy McGlue, and then the fight for fourth with Tom Jordan coming under pressure from Tony Wells. Wells, who is only into his third season of car racing, but has already proved to be extremely successful. He's combining a campaign in the Radical SR3 Challenge with also a campaign in the Radical European Masters for the more powerful SR8 cars. James Abbott, in second place, is combining his Radical campaign with one in the British Formula 4 Championship, so he has got a very busy year ahead of him as Peter Belshaw thinks about the move on Timothy Lyons on the brakes into Brundle. No way quite through there for Peter Belshaw. Still these 5 cars running in a train, and then only a very slender gap back to Max Leader and Sam Osborne, the 2 mini challenge graduates who are trying to get themselves towards the front of the Radical SR3 Challenge pack. Timothy Lyons, who has been very busy this weekend racing in the Radical Clubman's Cup, looking to use the slipstream afforded behind Steve Quick to try and challenge into riches. But as we were saying earlier on, these cars are so slender and lightweight that they really have an impossibly short braking zone, and that can make challenging for those overtaking moves a little bit tricky. The fight for fourth position still in favour of Tom Jordan, who's doing a very fine job here in withstanding the challenge of Tony Wells. It's enabling the leading trio to rather break clear. It's also possibly backing Tony Wells into the clutches of Ben Anderson, who's just up behind him, Anderson having seen off Darren Anley, as Tony Wells gets it all a little bit sideways going through Brundle, and that slows him coming out to Nelson. That's Anderson's opportunity to pounce, and Wells tries to defend, but it's too late, and through into the bomb hole goes Ben Anderson, gains the place up to 5th position, and that all stemmed from the slenderest of errors from Tony Wells. Also gives Tom Jordan then a little bit of breathing room in 4th as they head around Murray's and on to the Senna straight. Another lap reeled off, another lap closer to the pit window we get. Bradley Smith comfortably in command of proceedings all the while. Now Tony Wells, you would say, with his experience, on a good day, has probably got the pace to overhaul both Ben Anderson and indeed Tom Jordan. Whether or not he can do so is another matter altogether. There's Peter Belshaw then, who is still part of what's rapidly becoming a 6-way fight here, headed up by Max Hilliard, and all the while Owen Mildenhall looking every which way to pick his way past him. Mildenhall, though, in mid-race distance, will be handing over his car to the Formula 1 winner, sports car legend Andy Wallace. Mildenhall wants to give Wallace the best possible opportunity to score a good result, and at the moment, whilst this group of cars all squabble amongst themselves, it enables the cars a little bit further up the field to really make good their escape, and then it means that the drivers, as applicable, who take over the second half of the race, have got an awful lot of work to do to draw themselves onto terms, because all the cars in the field are, to all intents and purposes, identical, barring Selps changes as running wide there. Goes Hilliard, and that is the opportunity, I would venture, for Mildenhall. Through he goes, takes the place. Steve Quick, who's the next man up in terms of looking to make the challenge, trying to gain the ground. So here is the race leader, Bradley Smith, working around Coram Curve, building an emphatic margin here. Bradley Smith, through he comes, another lap reeled off. Still the Tom Jordan, Ben Anderson and Tony Wells battle continues. Remains in that order, so Tony Wells, having lost that place to Ben Anderson, has not really quite been in a position to gain it back just yet, try as he may. Anderson maintains 5th. Tom Jordan looking ever more comfortable in 4th position, and Jordan will hand over to Alex Capaldi at mid-race distance, whereas Ben Anderson and Tony Wells probably set to go the full distance. Timothy Lyons now taking his turn to put the challenge on to Steve Quick. So Timothy Lyons and Peter Belshaw in pursuit of Quick as they head through the bomb hole. Just dropping the green group car of Osborne and Lever all the while. And now Lyons tries a brilliant move on Steve Quick at Coram Curve. Lovely manoeuvre from Timothy Lyons, but he spins it all the way. And oh no, he just tags his rear wing with Steve Quick. So I think Quick has got away without damage. Timothy Lyons, though, a great shame. It was a fantastic move from Lyons, and it really did deserve that outcome. The race leader, Bradley Smith, though, fully in command of this And, well, Smith's pace this weekend at Snetterton has just been utterly astonishing as the pit window is open. Everybody out on the pit apron, poised and ready. In comes Timothy Lyons. Already in is Jeremy Ferguson. As out of the pit lane heads Neil Houston. He has got Andy Wallace then in hot pursuit of him. Wallace, who is acting as a test driver as well for Radical, he's done a lot of work to develop the SR1 that we'll see in action later this year. Bradley Smith sitting in the pit lane for his mandatory pit time. Michael Broadhurst rejoins the race, having had his pit stop. And now the chase well and truly on through the pack as the drivers ready and waiting on the pit wall. Their opportunity to join the action. Still Bradley Smith sits his mandatory pit stop time elapses. He rejoins the action. He should rejoin here with a reasonably comfortable lead as well, you would say, over the rest of the field, as consults his mirrors, makes sure it's safe to join the track, and it certainly is. And Bradley Smith here looking very good for victory in the first round of the 2013 Radical SR3 Challenge, accelerating on towards the hairpin at Montreal. Around he goes, and then on towards the left-hander at Palmer. Track that really lends itself to Radical racing, with lots of mid-speed corners, really quite challenging for the drivers, and also test the aerodynamic properties and mechanical grip of these cars very, very nicely. Steve Quick, who's doing the race duration, has now got Neil Houston right up onto his tail as well. Quick actually not sporting any damage from that earlier very slight touch of wings with Timothy Lyons, who, well, Steve Quick was the 2011 Lotus Cup UK champion, moving across to Radicals this year, and will be looking to steadily work his way up the grid in what is an incredibly competitive category of racing. The cars evenly matched, and the drivers also. Many of them have raced at this level for many seasons. They know all the tricks of the trade. Steve Quick is kind of learning all of that as he goes along. It's Ben Anderson who's got Alex Capardi on his tail, and this is the fight for third position. James Abbott's emerged from the pit stops in second. Bradley Smith leads, and it's Anderson in third, and he's got Capardi right on his tail, with then also Tony Wells not too far back as well. And Capardi, one of the quickest drivers in the field. He really is a master in these Radical SR3s, and he'll need to find a way past Ben Anderson. Can't quite do it at Murray's this time round. Anderson, though, have to be nice and smooth on the exit to carry that momentum that he needs up the centre straight, because Riches is one of the best opportunities to make an overtaking manoeuvre here on the Snetterton 300 circuit, but Capardi are not quite close enough this time round. Instead, he just fills Anderson's mirrors, ups the pressure. A pair of them sprint from Riches on towards Montreal, where Capardi thinks about the move to the inside. He forces Anderson into the mistake. Anderson misses the apex, runs wide, and Alex Capardi slides into third position. And that's a lovely move from Capardi. He just forced the pressure from Ben Anderson. Anderson made the error, slithered offline. Capardi's next target then is James Abbott, but Abbott in second position, here he is a long way up the road. And then Bradley Smith is even further up the road as he heads through Coram Curve for the final time. Worked around Murray's and then accelerates on the checker flag, is ready and waiting, and it's going to be victory in the first round of the 2013 Radical SR3 Challenge for Bradley Smith, to the delight of his MechTech team. Second place then going to James Abbott. Ben Anderson be slightly disappointed, I think, with fourth, because a podium was very much in his grasp. And then accelerating out for fifth position, the car of James Littlejohn and Tony Wells. So Anderson taking the flag in fourth position, Littlejohn and Wells in fifth. And let's have a look then at the final result, with the victory for Bradley Smith. Second place James Abbott, third place Tom Jordan, Alex Capardi from Ben Anderson, then Tony Wells and James Littlejohn from Jeremy Ferguson. Huge round of applause greeting the drivers on the rostrum for the first race of the season. Simon from MFDR does the honours, and now it's time for the champagne.
Guys, congratulations, third place. A lovely way to start the season. And if we talk first to you, Tom, I know this is your second race of the weekend already, having completed in the Clubman's Cup yesterday. You've put the mileage in and it's certainly paid off.
I made a quite a good start, and I was in fourth for most of the race. I held off my teammate for the race, and I mean, it really shows how competitive this series is this year with the guys in front,
It's fantastic. And Alex, you obviously took over partway through. Smooth driver changeover?
Yeah, it went perfectly, absolutely brilliant. We couldn't have hoped for any better. Obviously, we have a slightly longer penalty stop than most people, so it gives us a bit more time actually to get it right. We came out just behind Ben Anderson, who jumped us in the pit stops, and I tried to catch him. It took forever to catch him. He's really coming on quite quickly, and for his second race in a Radical, he's doing really well. Took about 6 laps to catch up to him, got past him, and that put us into third. So managed to sort of consolidate that for the rest of the race.
James, a lovely way to open the season. Of course, you're no stranger to Radical racings and no stranger to podiums, but lovely to see you on second place.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice to be here. Obviously, just fairly lonely race. Really, had a lot of clear track in front and behind, so nice and easy.
It seemed that there would be no chance of you catching Bradley, though.
Not in that race. No, we'll have to see what happens in the second. Noticed his lap times came down slightly on older tyres, so we'll have to see what happens in the second race.
Bradley, that was almost a very lonely race.
Yeah, I just sort of tried to make sure I could push hard at the start and get a bit of a gap, because I knew the pros were obviously coming out in the second stint, so just tried to generate a bit more gap in the start and see how I got on. But no, it worked out all right.
I know you were nervous before the start. Do you feel a little bit calmer now?
Yeah, I think so. To be honest, I think I prefer the rolling starts to the standing. I've done a few in my karting years, so I felt a bit more comfortable with that.
Fantastic racing there from the Radicals, and if you've enjoyed that, then join us in a couple of weeks' time where we'll see the second race from Snetterton here on Full Speed Racing.